In this video, I'm going to go into a little bit more depth about the risk categories of content, contact, and conduct. These three categories are huge, so I'm sticking to the basics to keep things concise. Starting off with contacts, this is where contact with a child is a participant, and the first thing that might come to mind is the process of being contacted by strangers, and then moving on to other areas such as grooming. Within contact, we also have the commercial aspect where personal information is harvested or mined to target personalised advertising. This would include things like tracking cookies, which are mainly harmless little snippets of code inserted onto your device, giving companies information such as where you're going on the web or a particular website that you're looking at. The curiosity of young people may sometimes take them to information which would cause concern, such as pro-lifestyle websites like pro-anorexia or self-harming. This may sound like a content-based issue, but remember, in this context we're talking about contact where the child is a participant. These types of sites are not typically set up to convince casual passers-by, but more of a support network for people who believe in the lifestyle and have no wish for treatment. There are hundreds of these types of websites and blogs and forums, and a completely unknown number of social networking accounts where young people are collaborating or sharing information about these particular lifestyles. We've got to remember that these are real life risks, they're not internet risks, although access to the internet gives greater exposure, and these are potentially mental health concerns where individuals need professional help, not peer support to maintain such a lifestyle. Although this category is contact, it's important to remember that much of that behaviour is content which is visible on a screen. Next we come to conduct. Essentially, it's the way we apply ourselves online. In other words, it could be how we speak to others in an online game or on a social network, or perhaps comments we leave on a YouTube video. It could be the photographs and videos that we share online and who we're talking to or friending. An interesting area within psychology research relating to conduct is online disinhibition. The Pathfinder study was the online disinhibition effect by Professor John Suler. Simplistically, it's looking into why people do things online rather than what. And I think this is key. In other words, if we can understand the why, we can help with the what. And if you're specifically involved with online safety, I would highly recommend you have a read. Just search for the online disinhibition effect. Within conduct, we also have bullying and harassment, and this is to do with a child or young person as the instigator or the actor, in other words, the bully. And within the sexual aspects, we have risk areas such as creating and uploading sexual content. Within the commercial aspects, we have areas such as illegal downloading or hacking, gambling, and of course financial scams as well. Putting aside the safety-based risks for a moment, illegal downloading is a significant problem area. Many children and young people freely admit to using sites to download copyright software or the latest music videos or albums, and of course the latest films and games. Commonly, the sites that make this type of illegal content available are known as torrent or peer-to-peer sites. And I remember years ago working at a school, and this was a really challenging area as new torrent sites were coming out all the time and the internet filter wasn't updated quickly enough, which resulted in students downloading illegal material onto the school network. Again, as an important point here, that although this is conduct-based risks, most of this activity is visible on a screen. And you might be wondering why this is important. The reason is that for much of this activity, an internet filter won't pick it up, or if it does, it just blocks the access and you're none the wiser. But good monitoring software such as NetSupport DNA will alert you to these behavioural issues. And finally, we come to content where the child is a recipient. There's no doubt the internet has given rise to free and easy access to some incredible content, but also there's content that would be deemed inappropriate. Not forgetting, of course, that the term inappropriate is subjective and normally determined by things such as age or maturity, perhaps religion and beliefs. Children and young people are generally not going out and searching for this type of content. It's just being shown to them, for example, if they use social networks, and perhaps that type of content is liked or shared and it eventually turns up on their timeline. But they also talk about misleading content, sometimes referred to as clickbaiting. For example, on YouTube, there are plenty of examples of videos that have a title or an image which looks like something that would be of interest to the child, and when they click on play, it turns out to be something entirely different altogether, and often inappropriate. An interesting report was released by the Institute for Public Policy Research in August 2014, and this was a poll of 500 18-year-olds concerning access to pornography online in their younger years. The poll has a lot of data in it and facts, but what I thought was interesting was that 8 out of 10 say that it's really too easy for young people to accidentally see pornography online, and 7 out of 10 say that pornography leads to unrealistic attitudes to sex, and that it can have a damaging impact on young people's views of sex or relationships. If young people themselves are saying this, it certainly makes you think. But of course, we also know that there are some that will deliberately explore these areas for a variety of reasons, and in a school environment this would be wholly inappropriate. The categories of content, contact and conduct are huge, and I've tried to keep the explanations as concise as possible. And you might find all the explanations and the risk categories and the aspects overwhelming. But don't forget that what we're talking about in the main is real-world behaviour issues which are carried out online. And because they're online, they're sometimes hidden aspects of behaviour, which is where technology tools such as NetSupport DNA come into their own. As a school, you cannot manage the accents students have outside the school gates, but for a variety of obvious reasons, as well as the awareness-raising educational aspects, it's important that these risk categories are managed technically too.